Right now, as you listen to this, there is someone thinking about you in silence, not because they miss you, not because they love you, but because they don't understand you anymore, and that confusion is power most people never learn how to hold. Most men are taught to speak when they feel, to explain when things shake, to chase when distance appears, but Stoicism never taught that. Stoicism taught something far more dangerous, something quieter, something that changes the balance of every relationship without a single raised voice. It taught restraint, it taught silence, it taught mastery of the self when desire burns, when attachment tightens, when intimacy threatens to control the mind. In modern relationships, especially between men and women, the one who reacts first loses leverage, not because love is a game, but because emotion without discipline turns love into dependency. And dependency is never attractive, never powerful, never respected. This is why silence has become one of the most searched ideas around Stoic relationships today, because people feel it working before they understand why. Attraction does not grow from constant reassurance. Desire does not deepen from endless explanation. Intimacy does not strengthen when one person gives everything and the other only receives. Stoic philosophy understood this long before dating apps, long before modern chaos, long before people confused vulnerability with emotional leakage. A Stoic man feels deeply, but he chooses carefully when to reveal it. He does not suppress desire, but he does not let desire command his actions. When he touches, it is intentional. When he speaks, it carries weight. When he withdraws, it is not punishment, it is self-respect. And this is where suspense is born in relationships, the kind of suspense that keeps someone awake at night wondering what you are thinking, because you are no longer broadcasting your inner world. For validation, silence is misunderstood. People think silence is cold, distant, or manipulative. In truth, Stoic silence is grounded, calm, and observant. It is the silence of a man who knows himself well enough not to beg for attention. In relationships, especially intimate ones, silence creates space, and space creates desire. When you are always available, always explaining, always reassuring, the mystery collapses. Mystery is not deception. Mystery is depth without noise, and depth is what pulls people closer without force. Stoicism does not reject sex, intimacy, or connection. It rejects being enslaved by them. Physical closeness can be powerful, emotional closeness even more so, but only when both are chosen freely, not clung to desperately. A Stoic man understands that attraction begins in the mind, long before it reaches the body. The way he carries himself, the way he listens more than he speaks, the way he does not rush to fill every silence. These are signals that trigger curiosity and desire. When a woman senses that a man does not need her approval to stand steady, her attention sharpens. Not because she wants control, but because confidence without arrogance feels rare and safe at the same time. Modern relationships are loud. Messages, reactions, explanations, emotional spirals, endless talking. Stoicism introduces something radical. Pause, the pause before responding, the pause before chasing, the pause before reacting emotionally. That pause is where power lives, not power over others, but power over self. And self-mastery is the most attractive trait a man can possess. When intimacy becomes intense, when emotions rise, when attachment pulls hard, the Stoic man does not disappear, but he also does not collapse. He stays centered. That centeredness creates tension, not negative tension, but the kind that keeps passion alive instead of burning it out too fast. Many men lose relationships not because they don't care, but because they care without boundaries. They give explanations when none are required. They apologize for emotions they did not cause. They reveal insecurity too early, hoping honesty will secure connection, not realizing timing matters as much as truth. Stoicism teaches timing. It teaches that not every thought deserves a voice, and not every feeling deserves immediate expression. Silence, when chosen consciously, allows emotions to settle, clarity to rise, and attraction to breathe. In intimacy, restraint intensifies experience. The man who rushes toward physical closeness without emotional grounding often finds himself empty afterward. The Stoic man understands that desire grows in anticipation. He does not rush to touch. He allows tension to build. He allows eye contact to linger. He allows moments to stretch. This is not manipulation, it is presence. When intimacy finally happens, it feels earned, grounded, and meaningful. And meaning is what transforms physical connection into something unforgettable. Stoic relationships are not about domination or withdrawal. They are about balance. When one partner floods the relationship with emotion and the other holds frame, the dynamic stabilizes. When both spiral emotionally, chaos follows. The Stoic man becomes the calm center, not by suppressing feelings, but by governing them. This is why silence is so powerful. Silence is not absence. Silence is control. Silence says, I am comfortable within myself. And comfort within oneself is deeply attractive. In today's culture, vulnerability is praised, but vulnerability without strength becomes emotional dumping. Stoicism does not reject vulnerability, it refines it. A Stoic man shares selectively. He opens up gradually. He reveals depth over time, not all at once. This pacing creates suspense. Suspense keeps relationships alive. When everything is revealed immediately, there is nothing left to discover. When discovery continues, attraction continues. The Stoic approach to relationships also understands loss. Not every connection is meant to last. Not every intimacy is permanent. Clinging to outcomes creates suffering. When a man bases his worth on whether someone stays or leaves, he gives away his power. Stoicism teaches non-attachment, not indifference, but acceptance. You can desire deeply and still be prepared to walk away with dignity. That ability to walk away calmly, without bitterness, without begging, changes how people treat you. People respect what does not chase them. They value what does not need them. This is why silence after conflict is so misunderstood, yet so effective. Not silent treatment, not punishment, but intentional pause. When emotions are high, words often destroy more than they heal. The Stoic man knows when to step back, regulate himself, and return with clarity. That restraint prevents damage. It also signals maturity. In intimate relationships, maturity is rare, and rarity creates value. Stoicism also teaches that pleasure is fleeting, but character endures. Sex without self-respect eventually feels empty. Intimacy without emotional discipline turns into dependency. The Stoic man enjoys pleasure without being consumed by it. He can desire without losing himself. He can love without surrendering his spine. That balance creates a presence that feels grounded and magnetic. Many people today feel confused by Stoic silence because they are addicted to emotional noise. They equate constant communication with security, But true security comes from consistency, not constant reassurance. The Stoic man is consistent in his actions, steady in his demeanor, and clear in his boundaries. He does not need to text endlessly to prove interest. His interest is shown through reliability, through how he shows up when it matters. In relationships between men and women, polarity matters. Polarity fades when one side overcompensates emotionally. Stoicism restores polarity by grounding masculine energy in calm strength. This does not mean coldness, it means presence without panic. Desire thrives when one partner feels grounded enough to hold space for emotion without drowning in it. Stoic philosophy reminds us that we cannot control how others feel, think, or act. We can only control our response. This truth frees relationships from desperation. When you stop trying to control outcomes, your behavior becomes natural, confident, and calm. People sense this immediately. Calm is contagious. So is anxiety. Stoicism teaches you to choose which one you bring into intimacy. There is also power in knowing when to speak. Stoic silence is paired with deliberate words. When a Stoic man speaks about intimacy, about feelings, about boundaries, his words land heavier because they are rare. Scarcity increases value. This applies to attention, affection, and communication. When everything is given freely without restraint, it loses impact. Modern Stoic content trends because people are exhausted by emotional chaos. They want structure. They want grounding. They want control without cruelty. Stoicism offers that. It offers a way to experience deep relationships without losing identity, to experience passion without addiction, to experience intimacy without fear. The Stoic man understands that self-respect is the foundation of attraction. When you respect yourself, others follow. When you abandon yourself for someone else, attraction erodes. Silence becomes a tool not to punish, but to preserve self-respect. It prevents you from saying things you will regret. It prevents emotional oversharing. It creates space for the other person to feel, reflect, and sometimes miss you. Missing someone is not created by constant presence. It is created by meaningful absence. Stoicism understands this deeply. Absence, when grounded, creates reflection. Reflection creates desire. Desire fuels connection. This cycle breaks when someone is always available, always explaining, always chasing. Stoicism is not about winning relationships. It is about not losing yourself within them. When you master yourself, relationships become richer, calmer, and more intense in the right ways. You stop reacting, you start choosing, you stop chasing validation, you start attracting respect. In intimacy, this self-mastery becomes palpable. Touch feels more intentional. Eye contact feels deeper. Silence between words feels charged instead of awkward. The Stoic man does not rush intimacy because he is not afraid of losing it. Fearlessness changes everything. This is why Stoic silence feels powerful. It is not empty, it is full of self-command, it is full of awareness. It is full of grounded desire that does not need to shout. When someone feels that, they lean in, not because they are manipulated, but because they feel something solid in a world that feels unstable. If you understand this, relationships stop feeling like battles and start feeling like shared journeys. You no longer need to dominate or submit. You stand steady. You let attraction breathe. You let intimacy unfold naturally. You let silence speak when words would weaken the moment. And in that silence, something rare happens. You stop being predictable, you stop being reactive, you stop being controlled by fear of loss. You become centered, calm, grounded, present. That presence is what people feel. That presence is what keeps them thinking about you when you say nothing at all.